Wow. I'll tell you, what an honor, what a privilege to be here tonight. Before I get started, I want to get a pulse check of the audience. So, how many of you were here last night? Wasn't that incredible last night? How about this morning? How many of you made it for the kickoff this morning? I mean, what a tremendous kickoff to day 2. And I'll share something personally with you. In addition to the Made in America piece, what I love is how we finished last night, how we started this morning with a prayer. I mean, there's nothing more important to me personally than my Christian faith, and I didn't know that coming here, but it makes me even prouder to be here and be a part of it. So, one other thing that I love, take a look at behind me. Could there be anything better backdrop for an event like this? So let me ask you this. Does anyone here believe in America? Yeah. Does anyone? That's what it's all about. And you know what? Instead of me being here talking for a few minutes, we've put together a video. So I'd like to share a little bit on our authentically American story and what we're all about. There's something special about the American worker. There's a dignity they carry. From sea to shining sea, they're the backbone of America. When I was a kid, 75% of the apparel worn in America was made in America. Today, it is tragically less than 3%. At Authentically American, we aim to help change that. My name is Dean Wegner. After graduating from West Point, I served our nation as an officer in the United States Army. My 7-year career in the military taught me a lot. Character, integrity, service, and patriotism. These are the values I've carried with me and are interwoven into the fabric of Authentically American. Our specialty is providing businesses, political campaigns, nonprofits, concert promoters, and golf tournaments with premium, custom, branded apparel and other merchandise that is made in America by American workers.
Sharing Dean's passion for making quality products in the United States by American workers. We don't hear that every day. A lot of apparel, as you well know, has been made overseas for years. But Dean's vision is to bring it back here to the United States and employ more people, put people back to work. Quality's great. How can you go wrong with Authentically American?
We chose Authentically American because we recently redid our brand, we changed our name, and we wanted help telling that story. When we came across Authentically American, it was a home run. They have a quality product made in America. It has a beautiful American flag logo on it. You won't believe how many times we get asked about that logo. What does it mean? We say, hey, it means it's made in America.
The quality of Authentically American's apparel is great. They provide merchandise for our stores as well as providing merchandise for our workers. Customers love the shirts. Quality's great. We've got a couple different options that we've went for. We've got kid sizes, adult sizes, and we support the fact that they're made in America.
Made in the USA is so important. It was hard when a lot of the industries went overseas because it hurts. It hurts people like me that do take pride in knowing that I'm good at what I do, but being able to come here and do what we know is just amazing.
The final piece of Authentically American is one that is close to my heart. I believe in giving back. 10% of our revenue is donated to charitable enterprises that support our American heroes.
When we first began working with the Authentically American team, right away we not only connected with their brand and their vision, but more importantly, they connected with the heartbeat of helping these military and these first responders heal from the traumas that they face while serving in the line of duty. Anytime people have purchased materials from Authentically American, it's made a direct difference in the lives of a family.
And if it wasn't for the faithful dedication to those that served from people like Authentically American, this type of healing wouldn't be able to take place all over the country.
So, if you are looking for high quality products at competitive prices, and if the sight of a Made in USA tag brings a smile to your face, we would be honored to have your business. Give us a call or visit our website at authenticallyamerican.us. All right. Woo. Thank you. And let me tell you, in early 2017, I set out to do something different. I wanted to do something bold. I wanted to leave a legacy. I had a vision to build this iconic American brand that's truly American-made. I wanted to build the next Nike or Under Armour, but I had all made in USA. In July of 2017, we officially launched Authentically American. And let me tell you, what an incredible journey it's been. It's not been easy, it's been challenging, but it's been incredible. But I do have a confession to make. For the last 2 years, it's been lonely. You remember how much in that video was said was made in the US? It's less than 3%. Less than 3%. I mean, it's shocking. For the last 2 years, I'd want to throw a Made in USA party. I'd invite 100 of my friends to come. There'd be 3 that would show up. And I'll tell you, it was depressing. It was dejecting. I mean, it was defeating not to be able to do that when people didn't realize, understand, and embrace the importance of Made in USA. And one thing happened. My friend Jason Blount, with the Made in America team, he called me up and said, "Dean, where have you been?" And he told me about this crazy vision, this crazy idea that our friend Don Buckner had. And I was energized. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Jason. But I gotta confess, after the high of that, I'm like, it's not real, because I've thrown these parties, I've reached out to my friends, and only 3 show up. So then I got introduced to Brad Winnings. We went down to Lower Alabama. We got to sit down and spend time with Wellborn Cabinets. And I got energized again. I was fired up. I'm like, wow, this could be real. But then reality set in, and I thought back, you know what? I've been doing this for 2 years, and it's so hard, so challenging to get the word out. And then I got here. And then all it took me to do was look around. And what I realized, I'm not alone. Is there anyone out here that believes in America? Yeah. I mean, I now realize, you know what? This journey is not alone. This journey is not by myself. I've got thousands of new friends. And this is year 1. I'm amazed, Don. This is year 1. I mean, incredible what we've accomplished. So, I've got somebody else I want to introduce you to. And this is somebody else that has stood by me, that has believed in America. But before we ask him to come on stage, I thought I'd show you a video of what some of his friends have to say about our special guest.
So DW for NASCAR, I think it depends on the generation you started watching the sport. There are some that remember him as the amazing driver, race wins, short track king.
Waltrip took the checkered flag at Bristol for a record-tying 7th time in a row.
He was a guy that you kind of looked at and idolized him. You know, how can he be so good?
That's the problem with me. I make it look too easy.
Sometimes he doesn't get enough credit for what he did behind the wheel. I think he's one of the best that's ever done it.
He didn't stop there, and I think a lot of drivers do. And he took the ball and ran with it and took the fame, the personality, his power to be able to improve our sport and continue that from the broadcasting booth.
Watching him call all these exciting races, he put excitement into our sport.
Craven got him! Craven got him! Craven got him! They're sliding, they're banging! Larson got him! Oh my goodness!
Are you kidding me?
Got him!
Just hearing that voice was so iconic to me, and obviously learn more about the history of our sport.
Hearing that boogity, boogity, boogie when I was a little kid, it's just one of the things you don't forget.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go road racing today, boys! Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing! And thank you very much.
I heard the word trailblazer earlier this week, and he is that guy, man. He's done it all. Way past his driving career, he continued to sell the sport and take the sport to another level.
I don't know that anyone's done more for the sport for that long.
He truly cares for the sport. He's been in it for 40-some years, I guess, if you add it all up, and if not more, and has dedicated his life to it. And guys like myself and generations to come benefit from it. So thank you a ton, DW.
Thanks and cheers to DW for all his hard work and effort.
Thanks for everything you've done for the sport of NASCAR.
We appreciate what you've done for it all this time, and of course we wish you the best in the future and whatever you're going to do next. I'm not sure what that is, but I know you're going to figure it out and do it at your best.
Well, I'll tell you what I know what DW is going to do next. Put your hands together. I'm so proud to introduce you to our NASCAR Hall of Famer, my good friend and a great American patriot, Darrell Waltrip.
Thank you very much. I heard someone was out here talking about me. And I said, thank God, because that means I don't have to do it myself. So I was happy about that. I'm really happy to be here tonight, and I really am excited about this show. I walked out in the exhibit hall today, and all the displays. And Don and I, Dean and I have had this conversation a million times about, is there anybody else doing this? Mm-hmm. And today it just kind of affirmed what he'd been telling me. There are a lot of people that are working with Made in America products, and so I think he didn't feel so alone. He felt like he had some friends, and so it was good to be here. I had a friend that called me, wonder how I met this guy. A friend called me and said, there's somebody I think you ought to meet. His name is Dean Wegner, and started this company called Authentically American, and he just needs some help and some encouragement. Well, I'm a big believer in words of encouragement. If it hadn't been for words of encouragement, I don't know that I would have ever had the success that I've had. And I'll tell you a quick story, and it really resonated with me when I was first starting. My dad, who believed in me, but he didn't see any way that I could ever be successful in racing because it was so expensive. There were 5 of us kids. Dad drove a Pepsi-Cola truck. I helped him in the summertime. So we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have any spare money. And so when I decided racing was what I wanted to do with the rest of my, for a career, well, my dad always said that was impossible. He said, there's no way you can do that. You're just a kid from Owensboro, Kentucky. We don't have the money. I just don't see any way you can do that. Well, the word impossible, have you ever broken it down? I'm possible. That's I'm possible. That didn't hit me when I first saw that word. The first thing I saw was it's impossible, and how am I going to do this? But the first race I ever won was Nashville, Tennessee, big race, cup race. Nashville, Tennessee, May of 1975. It was Mother's Day weekend. We're in Victory Circle. I'd won that race, my first win. In the Victory Circle was my grandmother, and my grandmother's name was Oda Palestine Phillips. That was her name. And she took me to races when I was a little boy, 6 years old. And I would tell my grandmother when I was a kid, I said, Granny, when I grow up, I'm going to be a race car driver. And she'd say, shut up and eat your popcorn. But I got hooked when I was a kid. And so when she was in Victory Circle with me, my grandfather was there, my grandmother, mom, dad, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, Michael, by the way, he's my brother, not my son. He was standing down in front of the car, kinky-haired kid, and I'm sitting up there, and it's one of the, it was the proudest moment of my career. I won a race. I won a cup race. Now, granted, it was Nashville, Tennessee, and I'd had a lot of success there. I figured if you can't win at home, you're never going to win, so that was a good thing to have happen, win it in Nashville. It's on Mother's Day weekend. We're going to go to the park tomorrow, Sunday, and we're going to have a picnic, and this is going to be the greatest day that I've ever had. It got better. So my dad comes up to me after the race, and my dad was, he loved me, and he knew I was a good race car driver, but I don't think he ever really thought that I'd make it to the big time. But my dad came up to me after the race was over with, and he put his arm around me. And when he was in a pretty philosophical move, he would call me Sonny Boy. He put his arm around me, he said, Sonny Boy, let me tell you something. You're a better man than me. Well, that floored me. He said, I never thought that we'd be standing in Victory Circle at a cup race. I would have given up on this dream a long time ago. So those words from my dad that night, that's all I needed to hear. My dad believed. He believed in me. And he saw that dream I had could actually come true. And so I went on from there, and I've been very blessed. I won 84 races, 3 championships, a couple of the most popular drivers. I was king of that sport at one time. In the 80s. I was from 79 to 89, those were my 10 years, and I think most drivers, you'll have a 10-year period where you do really well. You win races, you have success. So I think Jimmy Johnson's a good example of that. Jeff Gordon, Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, you name it. All of us had sort of a 10-year era. And somebody said to me one day, he said, well, DW, it looks like the era is over with. I said, yes, but at least I had one. So the biggest thing I think that I with Dean, I share with him all the time, you can do this. This is not impossible. This is a steep mountain that you're climbing. And it gets really, really tough right before you get to the top. Well, I think that's where a lot of us find ourselves. We're almost there if we can just hang in there a little bit longer. If somebody will just give us a little encouragement. And that's why I came along beside of Dean. See, athletes are really kind of selfish. They're used to being paid to endorse products. Very few pay someone else to endorse their product. So when I met him, I said, look, I like what you're doing. I believe in you. I believe in this guy. I don't know if you know his history or not, but this guy right here is a quality guy. And when he puts his mind, his heart, and his soul into something like he has, Authentically American, I tell you, it's got to be a success. And I just want to walk with him, walk along beside of him, and kind of clean up after him and do what I can to help him, because I believe Dean is right on the verge of breaking out with this company and doing great things. And look, in this room, all we need is one. Just one guy we can look to and say, he did it. If he did it, I can do it. And another guy can do it, and another guy. It's like stacking pennies. It's the way we do in racing. Penny here, penny there, penny there. Pretty soon you're talking about big bucks. So that's why I love being with this guy. He's an encouragement to me and a good role model to me. And he's done incredible things in his life. And matter of fact, tell him what are some of the things you've done in your life?
Well, real quick, DW, I want to highlight, because you've shared how much you believe in me, but I also want to share how much he believes in this group and everyone here.
Yeah.
Because most people, like DW, said, well, when's the private jet coming to pick me up? When's the limo coming to pick me up? And I didn't know this, but there's not a single nonstop flight from Nashville to Indianapolis. And we invited DW to do, what did he say?
I'm not going.
I'm driving myself. Now it's 300 miles. How long did it take you?
Well, it normally takes, my wife said, how long did it take? I said, well, it would take you 6 hours, but it only took me 4. So, but I have to tell you, my wife decided, my wife's a warrior. By the way, we've been married 50 years. We celebrated our 50th anniversary 2 weeks ago, and so I got to share this one.
Please.
So when I got married in 1969, I had this vision. Man, I had it all figured out. We got married in Owensboro, Kentucky. I had $69 in my pocket and a credit card that was hot. And I don't mean hot, it had been overused, and it was probably on a wanted list. Apparently it was. So we go to Louisville, Kentucky, and we spend a couple of nights in a hotel, and I get ready to check out, and I give them my credit card, and they would not accept it. Matter of fact, they kept it. So I had to pay cash for our rooms. So now I'm down to $6. That's all I got, $6 in my pocket. There's a race in Salem, Indiana, one of my favorite racetracks. Paid $1,000 to win. So, honey, we're going to get up Sunday morning, and we're going to Salem, Indiana. Now, we're going to race on our honeymoon. That's how our relationship started. And my wife didn't know a whole lot about racing. But she knew one thing, that was not where she wanted to go on our honeymoon. So my vision was, I'm going to win this race. Paid $1,000 to win, 100-lapper. I got a 57 Chevrolet from Owensboro, Kentucky, and it didn't have a sponsor. All I had on the side of it was Mr. Owensboro. That was me. So I'm racing this guy, and his name is Iggy Katona. I don't know if you know Iggy or not. It looked like a bulldog. I didn't know this until I confronted him. But he'd been around a long time, and he had a factory-backed Dodge with a big Hemi and all in it. Really super fast car. I held him off for 99 laps. But on the last lap, we're going down the back straightaway at Salem, and we've been going there, and then I'd hear him let off, and I'd go in the corner. And then I'd go in the corner. This time I hear him go, put me in the wall. Last lap, last turn, put me in the wall. There went my $1,000, $250 my part. That'd been a lot of money back in the day. Raced so with, I'm mad. Oh, I'm mad. I go down, and he's standing out on the front straight with the trophy and all that stuff, you know. Pat him on the shoulder, and he turned around and I said, uh-oh. Probably shouldn't have done that. Mr. Katona, you just drove me in the wall, sir. And he looked at me, and I was scared when he turned around. He looked at me and said, boy, let me tell you something. I ain't been outrun by no 57 Chevrolet in a long time, and I damn sure wasn't going to start today. You were not going fast enough. Yeah, I was either going to have to go over you, around you, or through you. But I was not going to be outrun by 57 Chevrolet. And I said, okay, Mr. Katona, it's really nice to meet you, and I'll see you down the road somewhere. So that ended my honeymoon, because we were going to get our 250. We were going to go to French Lick, Indiana, and spend a couple of 3 nights in that beautiful hotel over there. That was my plan, but it didn't work out. Fast forward 50 years, and Stevie and I went back to Owensboro, to the chapel where we got married, said our vows all over again, left there, drove to French Lick, Indiana, spent 3 nights there in that beautiful hotel, and then drove home afterwards. So I didn't get to go there when we got married, but 50 years later, that was another dream that finally came true. We finally got to go back and do what I intended to do when we first got married. So,
DW, let me ask this, because everyone knows the 84 races you've run.
Yep.
Everyone knows you from the Hall of Fame.
If you don't, I can tell you about some of them. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
They also heard the boogity booty booty
Yeah.
from the broadcasting days, but I think what a lot of people don't know is the business side.
Yeah.
So share a little bit, because nobody out here is a professional athlete. We're in the world of business.
Yeah.
So tell them what parallels you've taken from the sports side into business to enable you to be successful.
Yeah, well, I'm a car guy. I mean, you ask me about cars, I know about cars. You ask me about politics, I know a little bit about politics. But anyway, in 1985, I had a chance to get in the car business. I grew up in Owensboro. I worked for Skillman. I don't know if y'all know Ray Skillman. His family had car dealerships in Owensboro. So I worked for the Skillmans. And I always thought the coolest thing in the world would be if you had a new car and enough money to buy all the gas you needed to go wherever you wanted to go. I thought that would be like another one of those dreams come true. Well, fast forward to 1985, I got in the car business. Rick Hendrick and I became great friends. I ended up driving the Tide car for Rick. Rick helped me with my dealerships, and I have 5 of them now in Franklin, Tennessee. If you're ever going down the interstate, go through Nashville, headed to Birmingham. When you get down to Franklin, get to Highway 96, look over to your left, and you will see our used car lots right on the corner right there on the interstate. And then you go down the street a little ways, and we got 5 car dealerships down there. So loved the car business, learned everything I know I learned from racing. My girls, I got 2 beautiful daughters. They're both married. I have 1 granddaughter. She's 20 months old. My girls get a little annoyed with me when I say, okay, we're going to have a team meeting. Dad, this is not racing. Yeah, but we're going to talk. We're going to break this down. Now, look, we got to be a team player here. Dad, forget it. We don't want to hear that. Isn't it funny? Let me ask you something. How many of you go home and wherever you work, people hang on every word you say? They take your directions. They listen to you. You're the smartest guy in the room, but when you get home, Dad, we don't want to hear that. Dad, you can leave that back with us. We don't want to hear that. So that's kind of that's the way my girls always were about me and my racing, because I talked about pit stops. You know, we're going to make some pit stops here. You know, we're going to come in, fuel up the car, whatever. But anyway, I love the car business, and it's something I always wanted to do, and so I was fortunate. And I run my dealerships the same way I always raced. I don't care. You can buy a car anywhere. You know this. You can go down the street. There's a car lot on every corner. It doesn't have anything to do with what kind of car it is or anything else. It's how you treat the people. And that's what's going to make this guy or everybody in this room, that's what's going to make you successful. It's not the product. You got to have good products. Everybody's got good products. It's how you treat the people. And that's the one, I preach that every day when we go to the dealership and we have meetings about customer service, whether it's in the service department, the finance, or wherever, on the showroom floor, wherever it is. You got to treat people the way you want to be treated. And that's what we have the most successful, some of the most successful franchises in our region. And so I always think it goes back to the fact of the way we treat the people. I worked at Don Moore Chevrolet in Owensboro, and there was a guy named Russell Rudd, and Russell ran the service department. And people were always, you'd sell a car, and they'd bring it in to get a service, and they'd come up front and complain about the service. Your service here is terrible. Worst service I've ever had. I don't know what your service department's no good. So one day I go back and I talk, I'd say, Russell, look here. Every time somebody comes in there to get a car service, they always come up front and complain about how bad the service is. What do you say about that? He said, Darrell, let me tell you something. Our service ain't no worse than anybody else's. That was his philosophy about service. It wasn't no worse than anybody else's. So I've always been a believer in taking care of the customer. You take care of the customer, they're going to tell a friend, that friend's going to tell a friend, they come back, they buy something from you. And I don't care if you're selling apparel, cars, tools, I don't care what you're selling. That's across the board. It works every time.
I'll tell you, DW, we're running out of time, but...
No, we're not. We got all night. Go ahead. That thing,
we'll keep going.
That thing...
I'll tell you, to reinforce what he's saying, though, I'm encouraged when he believes in me. And I hope you're encouraged when somebody like DW, drives 10 hours in one day to be here with you. I hope you're encouraged by that. So, DW?
Yeah. Well, we're not done yet. No,
Let's keep going.
No. See, did you tell him your story? Because see, that was my story. Now you got to tell him your story. This guy, this is a quality guy right here. Mm-hmm. He's a West Point guy, and one of the things that sold West Point flew helicopters. He's a helicopter pilot, smart guy. But one of the things that really kind of connected us was he worked for Procter & Gamble, and so he was familiar with the Tide account, and he knew about Tide, and he knew a lot about Tide, but I know a lot more about Tide than he does because I sold a lot of Tide in my time. So who Dean is and what he does, the kind of person he is, he's got a great family, he's got great kids, great wife, and when he sticks his neck out and he puts his money in and he's willing to work 12, 15 hours a day every day to try to make something out of this authentically American company, I mean, I'm sold. I'm in. And we've met some great people. We met with Lee Greenwood this past week. Lee's wants to be an investor in the company, some of my friends. It's really picking up a lot of momentum. And coming here today and seeing all you folks and seeing what y'all do, that was encouraging to me as well. What else?
You tell me. Let's keep going.
We got 55 seconds. You know how many laps that is at Bristol? That's 4 laps. Anyway, anything you want to tell these folks before we go?
Well, guys, again, I said 2 years. The last 2 years has been lonely, but I could not be more fired up. I could not be more energized being right here. And we're not even done yet, but I'm already looking forward to year number 2.
Amen. Amen. I don't think our timing, his timing, your timing, anybody's timing could be better. I mean, with the current administration we have, bringing jobs back to America, manufacturing plants back to America, those are the things that we needed somebody to help us do, and we got somebody in the White House that's getting it done. And I don't like to talk politics because my dad always said, son, when you talk politics and religion, you divide your friends in half. But I'm going to tell you, there was a guy in the White House that said those jobs are gone. They're never coming back. Those jobs are going to another country. They'll never be back to this country. I tell you, we got a guy in the White House now that said, I don't think that's the way it's going to be, boss. And I believe in that. So that's, without getting too political, that's my political speech for this evening. Amen, brother, amen. Thank all y'all for letting me come and be here with you tonight. Good luck to every one of you. Keep fighting the fight. And don't forget about those words of encouragement. Encourage each other. Amen.
Thank you, DW.